What's up, guys and girls? It's GhostRobo, and this is an incredibly cool video because I had the insanely awesome privilege to go and play over 3 hours of the full final build of Resident Evil 7, and I think this was the most surprising event/demo I've ever taken part in. And it was surprising because Resident Evil 7 is freaking awesome, and I did not expect that. I don't know if anyone expected it after 5, 6, Umbrella Chronicles, just a lot of sort of average efforts and disappointing releases. Now they come back with Resident Evil 7, and it blew me away. It is the perfect fusion of elements that we loved in Resident Evil, plus 2017 game design and tech, and it comes together in the form of this very psychological, very escape room-esque, very tense experience with a family of psychos and your quest to get the heck out of there. So I got to play about 3.5 hours of the beginning of the game. It didn't start right at the the 0 mark, but a little bit in, and then from there, sort of the first main 2 areas, because Resident Evil 7 is structured around a very creepy family and their plantation. And the whole mystery and intrigue of that just permeates the experience in terms of what's going on plot-wise, in terms of what they can do, what they're after. You are being stalked consistently by this family, and it is freaky. Right from the get-go, there is a dinner scene, and this family is not normal, and it sets the stage for what is to be a very heady horror game. I feel to me, it felt a lot more psychological than physical. There definitely is some real creepy physical aspects for sure. My girlfriend was with me, and she was real creeped out by some of it. But I love the fact that instead of being more of this like goofy sort of like, Resident Evil 6 just had a pacing and oh my god, the virus, and oh my god, this. I feel like they've sort of harkened back to being more what we want, right? And it really is evident from the mansion that you begin in that they've taken aspects of even the original Resident Evil, and then the things we loved along the way: inventory management, tense combat, being hunted, a very mysterious story, and it feels like they have sort of wisened up and matured to a place where this game now is just a really, really cool, really fun, and really creepy embodiment of Resident Evil in 2017. It looks gorgeous. I played on PlayStation 4 Pro, and it was fantastic. From the facial detail to the environmental detail, it looks marvelous. And that really, I think, enhanced my time, because you are spending a lot of time in these environments. They are living, breathing environments. It's not open world, but it's open environment in the sense that you will be doing backtracking, you will be finding new passages, new rooms, using future keys to unlock past doors, all the while being hunted. And it begins, like I said, in this mansion. And Jack, the father of family gone crazy, is the sort of the master of that area, and he is hunting you, and sort of takes the helm of boss of the mansion. And so you begin looking around, and you're just piecing together what's going on, grabbing some clues, grabbing some inventory. Your inventory is quite limited. It's back to feeling really stressful if you want to take more ammo or more health, if you want to take an extra gun or an extra item. And there is crafting within said inventory and management of said inventory, and I love it. I love that they have rekindled the tension of inventory and combat. The combat is kind of clunky, but I feel like it works so well, and it's purposefully that way in order to really enhance sort of your panic and your real engagement with the character. Your character Ethan is freaked out, but also trying to really keep his head on straight and navigate away from just all the weird stuff he's seen. I mean, Jack is this father that I would not want to be my father, and once he sees you, it's not a pretty sight. He's breaking stuff, he's phasing through walls, he is on your trail, and so you need to basically go around and get enough stuff to start opening doors and getting out of there. And that's where sort of the escape room aspect comes into play. I don't know if you guys are familiar with escape rooms, but it probably was my favorite thing of 2016, sort of this boom of this new style of fun where you go into a room, a themed room with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of your friends, get locked in for 60 minutes, have to solve a bunch of puzzles and riddles to escape. Sometimes it's because someone kidnapped you. Maybe it's because there's an alien invasion, perhaps a really deadly deadly virus was unleashed, and you have to find a way to stop it. But regardless, that puzzle aspect, as well as the trapped in environment aspect, really feels like a great parallel with Resident Evil 7, because you do start in this mansion. Eventually you get out of the mansion and you move on to another area of the plantation. But the mansion itself is big, and it's memorable. You learn to recognize rooms. You learn to recognize things. Eventually get a shotgun, and it's very, a very identifiable place where the shotgun is and how you get it. The dad is chasing you. The grandma is just randomly shows up. And while you're trying to avoid the dad and collect keys and move through and piece things together, you also may have to worry about another enemy, which is more of a Resident Evil enemy, and that is the molded. And they are these creatures that just sort of like come out of the woodwork, out of the walls. They're molded in, and then boom, they're out, and they're like muck and mud monsters that really have a lot of stamina. You have to be careful and precise with your bullets, with your attacks, and that goes for the family as well, because you will be fighting against them. And eventually you reach the garage, and it seems like things are going your way, and then good old Jack comes into the garage, and it is a battle of quite a lot of brutality and blood. You get in a car, and it just gets crazy from there. But I love how chock full of detail and use the environment is, right? So in square footage, this mansion is not massive. It is large, but it is not massive, but they really pack every room, and even the items. Like, you'll go around and you'll pick something up, and at first blush it looks to be of no use, but if you flip it around, if you're careful, if you turn it, you'll notice there's a tiny little prompt to hit a button, and you'll open up maybe the side panel of a box, or pull away the back of a frame, or hit a little pinhole to unveil something that was not seen before. And this all is in your goal to get out of here. You'll find VHS tapes like we've seen in the demos, where you then get to sort of play through a previous time in the house or a previous time on the plantation that will give you clues going forward, which I think is a really interesting mechanic and a really cool mechanic. You receive phone calls from an outside source, and they are giving you hints and help to help you move through the game and also move you through the plot. There are safe rooms where you can save and sort of store some of your items and spend coins that you find on upgrades. And it just feels incredibly polished. And whereas I walked away from the E3 demo feeling a bit like it was bland and kind of whitewashed and just like trying to attach onto the Amnesia craze. It was just a house and the sort of dumb characters and what was really going on and not a whole lot. And I didn't like it. And this is just completely not that. This is completely engaging, completely immersive, and completely fun. You move through this mansion and eventually you emerge. And now you're out in sort of the outdoors, and you find a trailer home, and you go in there, and it's a safe house, and then you move to the greenhouse, and the greenhouse is a whole different beast than the mansion. And this is the lair of the mom. Marguerite is the mom, and she is there, and boy, is she freaking weird. She is a very unique individual who has an obsession with bugs unlike anything I've ever seen. But her lair, if you will, is different from the mansion. The way that you move through it, the types of items you need, the whole progression is different. And while some puzzles are similar, there are definitely enough different ones to feel like this is a very progressive and evolutionary effort throughout the game. And I cannot wait to see what other environments there may be and what other kinds of sections and places on this plantation there may be. And the boss fights are like I said, brutal, but also really cool, and they're really tough. I was impressed and surprised by the difficulty. It seemed to be tricky, and some of them require trial and error, some of them require skill, but all of them are intense. There is a battle again with Jack later in the mansion, in more of the basement, and it's hard. It took me a number of tries, and it is gory and gross. And this game does not hold back in terms of playing on your fears and playing on things that might freak people out. And to me, it doesn't feel cheap. It feels earned. There are some jump scares, of course, but that's not the focus here. Again, it's more of a psychological. You are trapped in this plantation with this just freaky family, and how are you going to get out? What exactly is going on? Why are they this way? And that's all that you will be uncovering and discovering along the way. It's really cool because you go and, like, one thing I thought was neat was a lot of the doors have animals on them, and so eventually you're finding these animal-shaped keys that can be used on, their matching doors, and you can move, maybe there's animal key number 1 in the greenhouse, and then you can use it in the greenhouse, but also to unlock a previous room in the mansion that might help you get a better item or a better weapon. And I love the way that they kind of Metroidvania it out in that style, and that there's certain things that you will not be able to access at first blush that you will have to come back for. And that really, to me, just emphasizes the environment as a living, breathing part of the game, that the levels feel... they feel like they matter. It doesn't feel like just like a corridor for you to quickly, brisk through and then be gone. It feels like a place, and I think that really contributes to my immersion in the game, and that I felt like I was Ethan, and that I was there. And I'm not someone that likes horror. I'm not someone that likes Amnesia, but be clear, Resident Evil 7 is far more of a game than Amnesia. I think some people worried initially maybe there wouldn't be combat, maybe it would be very, just like walking simulator style. This is not like that. There is combat. There is a lot of puzzle solving. There is a lot of exploration as well, but it feels different because you are very interactive, and because you are battling, and because you are making progress, and you are using maps and keys and clues to move through this environment, and to move through this plantation, and move through this what seems to be a very long battle with this family, because they do not give up easily. They do not go quietly, and they will require you to use all of your abilities to get past both them themselves, and also sort of their traps that they have set up within the environments. I'm super curious to see what is beyond the greenhouse and what is beyond the mansion, because those two were so cool, and each one feels like its own vignette, its own novella of game design and of story, where they're themed, and at least the two I played were, and it was very interesting to see how those themes integrated themselves with the environments, with the characters, and with your experience. There are other characters that you come across. In fact, at one point, a cop comes, and it seems like it's going to be, an early ending for the game, but that doesn't go well. And then you end up, like I said, you're on the phone with another character, and they are trying to help you. You watch these VHS tapes that you actually get to play, which, again, is another perspective. And so it really is a cerebral piecing together of this mystery that I hope is a long and very rewarding experience. Like I said, the chunk I played, 3.5 hours, was fantastic, and I hope it builds on itself. I hope they don't blow their load in the beginning and then are left with repetition, because what they had going on was so satisfying. And when you finally conquered an area, or finally conquered sort of the quote boss of that area, it felt like, boom, like I beat that dude, and I'm so glad to be done with that, and like stake my flag on this space, because I am in charge now. I am the captain now, and that is really how it felt. And I didn't experience much cheese. Like I felt like the demo at E3 had a lot of that, and there wasn't much of it here. It takes itself seriously in a way that really, I think, makes you take it more seriously. So, whether you are, making a silent move to another room in hopes that you don't get spotted, or whether you are trying to choose between more herbs or more ammo, that's a freaky one. And maybe you need to decide to sort of backtrack and find more items before you progress, because something is just too intimidating. There's too many molded, or you don't think you're going to be able to pass a certain section. You have an item that helps you sort of see other items in the world, and that can be really useful, because things are hidden in very tight corners. And again, this is where like the escape room aspect really just gets me going, because I love hunting through those escape rooms in real life, looking for clues, looking for keys, looking for little nuggets of information I may have missed. And it feels like this game is just splattered with that. It is just, quite literally strewn across the floor and the ceiling and the walls and the cabinets and the cupboards with stuff. And your ability to be thorough, your ability to be a detective, your ability to be calm in spite of all this tension and surrounding chaos is critical to your survival and your eventual escape. And I love that feeling. I think it just strikes such a vibe. I played this in a room with other people, and therefore I did not feel like I needed to throw my controller or close my eyes at some of the fears and jeers. But by myself, this game is going to be a freaky time. I might have to live stream it because I don't know if I can do it alone. I might even live stream with my girlfriend because she's super interested to see where the story goes and see where sort of the evolution of this family and their weirdness. Man, I wish I could tell you. I have some restrictions. I wish I could tell you what happens with the greenhouse, but you're going to be really impressed, I think. And if you're a fan of Resident Evil and wish that they would find a way to either rekindle or reinvigorate the series, they have done that. And I feel like it is not I feel like it's not by going backwards, but by going forwards, by looking backwards and then stepping forwards. And I think that is the greatest compliment I can give Resident Evil 7, besides it being a huge surprise and being super fun, is that it looked back and saw what worked and what didn't, and then it moved forward into a next-gen Resident Evil. And, it isn't doing anything crazy new, but it's doing it in a way that works so well. The elements come together in such a way that it is a delight, and it is a heart-pumping, engaging, awesome adventure, and I cannot wait to play more. The game is only a few weeks away. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the footage. I hope you enjoyed the details, and if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll try to respond to what I can. Like I said, I've got some restrictions, but I try to give you guys I tried to bring you there with me, and I hope that you feel like you have experienced at least some of Resident Evil 7 and are ready for more, because I think it's going to be one of the more cool surprises and titles of 2017, and it's coming our way super soon. So thank you so much for watching. Get yourself ready for a freaky escape room of insanity when Resident Evil 7 releases on January 24th. Until that time, though, guys and girls, thanks so much for watching. I love you so much. Looking forward to your comments. Until next time, drink so much chocolate. Thanks again, and we'll see you all later.